Good morning everyone, it's Louise from Eleanor Grace. I'm here with another stitch as promised. This is fly stitch, which you can see here in various different types of thread. We've got wool here and we've got it in different thicknesses of cotton perlé, which is my favourite to use, and some linen here, some variegated thread here. Fly stitch is one of the more, I would say, ordered stitches. It's a very close relative to the feather stitch, which I find is very lovely and loose and flowing. Fly stitch is a little bit more formal. You can do it either as a detached stitch in these cases, where you've got this lovely V shape, very similar to the U shape on the feather stitch if you haven't already watched that video, or you can do it as a row like this, which looks really quite striking, especially if you're doing it in a slightly thicker thread. It can look really amazing, but it does also look lovely as just a detached thread and detached stitch, with difference being sometimes the length of the loop that you're sort of folding it in. If it's a very short loop, it can look quite different to these ones where you've got a longer tail here. But we'll have a look at some of the examples of where I've used it, because it is a really lovely stitch, but it's one I perhaps don't use quite as much as the feather stitch here, because I love the loose flowing sort of nature of the feather stitch. But it is a beautiful stitch, and perhaps I should use it a little bit more. So I'll show you a couple of things here that I've used it in. So this is one of my bookmarks. It's one of my sort of beginner classes, and here we have the fly stitch there. In fact, it's the other way around. I'm going to turn it around. So just here, and I've done this in one long chain, which tends to be the way I use it the most. But looking at the little practice piece I had there, I might think about doing something a bit different with it, perhaps doing some detached ones. This again is in a long chain of feather stitches, so I'm working it this way. And that does look really nice, and this is a bit of a gentler colour scheme than the other one. And finally, a piece that I used it on is one of my sort of major pieces. I'll show you there. This is my journal cover, which is all done in sort of neutrals, all with lots of vintage lace. And as you can probably see here along the edge, I've used it down the edge there, and I think that looks really lovely. Again, with this I had a very limited palette, but the different stitches do sort of pick out you know, parts of the lace and the underlying fabrics. Again, feather stitch I've used here with French knots, which is something I use a lot. So we will have a look at how to do this. If you haven't already seen my other videos, then you might want to get yourself together a practice piece. This is just a piece of calico, so something cheap, attached to felt at the back and just stitched around the edge with a running stitch. I've got my other videos which you may have seen, the feather stitch and the French knots, and this is herringbone stitch, different forms of herringbone stitch. So we will start off here with a bit of fly stitch. Now, as I say, I'm using cotton perlé 12, which is the one that I use most of the time. And I'm just going to bring that down a bit so you can see. And what you want to do, a bit like the feather stitch, which is a nice U shape, you need to think about where you're going to start and where you're going to finish your fly stitch. This is where it's a little bit more ordered perhaps than the feather stitch. And with the feather stitch you want to do a sort of offset start and finish of the stitch, whereas with the fly stitch you want to be very ordered. So you want to have your start and your finish on the same level. So if I go in like that, it's the same process in that you're picking up the stitch. You're going to pick it up right in the middle and then pull through and catch the thread. Now in this one I'm going to do a series of detached stitches, so these are just single stitches, And what I'm going to do is give this a nice long tail. So what you're doing, you've caught the thread there and you're just going in. You could go in straight underneath and make it a proper V shape, or you could leave it a little tail. Again, you want to leave it quite formally. You want to be quite straight if possible. And I find it helpful, as I've done in the herringbone stitching, keeping my thumb on the thread, giving a little bit of tension, and then going in like that. And then you end up with a nice neat stitch. If I come up again to show you, then if you're doing a series of them, but they're not going to be attached to each other, you can look at where you're going to come up again, because it looks, if I was to start here, it looks like it's going to be right underneath this one, but it isn't, because if you think of where the V shape is going to go, it's going to go down here. So it helps to have an idea of where you think the next one's going to go. I could put one in straight underneath it and start there, but if I'm doing a detached one, I tend to come down a bit, and then again you want to sort of get it on a level with the other side, so a lot more ordered than the feather stitch. Again, come down to the point where you would make the V, so much like the U of the feather stitch, you're making a distinct V shape, and you've got to think of where the 3 points of that V are. And here the third point is coming up, catching, giving a bit of tension, not tight, but just a little bit of tension, and then coming down here. So I'll do another one of those. So here we go. Let me just come out a little bit. Here's another one. And the second point, my third one, is going to be obviously about here. So make that there. Oh, and I've made rookie error. Got to catch that point. So there we go. And again, I'm going to keep that, might roll that around a little bit to get it in the right place and make a nice little tail there. There we go. So that's the first one. I'm going to just detach this and try with a different thread. Snip that off. As you will have seen on my original, my sort of large practice piece, I have done this in wool, and I have done it in all sorts of threads. A cotton pearl 8 is of course my favourite, very easy to work with, especially for beginners. Cotton pearl 12 as well, and I will show you a bit of that one as well, because that will be thinner and more defined. Right, this is going to be one where I do it in a chain, and this is with a bit of wool. It's a beautiful hand-dyed wool that I bought for some reason, didn't end up using, and was thinking of getting rid of. So I've made those first 2 points, and I'm going to come up here again to make that V shape. And then I need to go in here and I'm going to make a short tail on this just to show you the difference. If you make a short tail, generally you will need to come down to about the same level, which means this is going to be quite a tightly packed row of fly stitches. And this is something where I would say this is where it is a bit complex, because it can be hard to get this exactly right. Now with slow stitching, the idea is perfection is not a requirement, but fly stitch can look, you know, can look very different depending on how accurate you are. So it's one stitch that I do tend to give a bit more weight to. So as you can see, I've come down underneath, and that's just about right. So let's do one more. So as you can see, the length of the tail is roughly how far I've gone down to the next stitch, and that is, for me, that's a guideline that I tend to use, because I do find this a more difficult stitch than some of the others. Although I include it in my workshops for beginners, it is one that people do seem to struggle with a little bit more than the others. So again, you've got that second point in, and I'm going to come up here at the end of the last stitch and make a tail about the same length as the last one to make it nice and neat. And you can see how different it looks in wool. This is, I think, a double knit to Aran sort of size, or worsted sort of size. There we are. So that's a nice neat row. This is very much like the ones that I did here. This was a cotton pearly 8, so it was quite fine. This obviously being a bit thicker, and I will show you that in a cotton pearly 12, which will look quite different, because as I'm sure most of you know, cotton pearly 8 is thicker, and cotton pearly 12, the higher the number, the thinner it is. So I've got a little piece of that here, and you will be able to soon see the difference between them. So if we've got our cotton pearly 8 here, and we've got our wool here, I'll show you a little bit of fly stitch with cotton pearly 12. It is I've got to do another knot on there actually, because it is so fine, it's just coming through the back. Here we go. So coming in from behind, thinking always of that V shape. So I'm doing the 3 points of the V. I do the top 2 first and the third one afterwards. So the top 2 points of the V, and then I come through. I'm going to make a slightly smaller stitch because it's a smaller, thinner thread, and you can see much more like a slightly thicker version of a sewing thread. It's probably about 1 to 2 threads of embroidery floss. I'm going to make a nice long tail here, so you can see the slightly more open fly stitch. So that's the first one made. Then again, the length of the tail is roughly the length of the dip that I'm going down on the next stitch. But again, perfection is not a requirement here. That's my motto. Slow stitching is all about the process and the benefits that you get from it. And it's not about being absolutely perfect. But as I say, this is just slightly a more complex stitch, I think, for beginners. So as you can see, I've made that long tail there, so I'm coming down about the same length. I'm going in there, and then I'm going to complete my V stitch there. Sometimes this is called the V stitch, fly stitch. So as you can see, that's not by any means perfect, but it is a really attractive stitch that you can use decoratively. And fly stitch has been around for, they don't know exactly how long, but I think it's many hundreds of years. So it is something that you could give a try to and see how you get on. I'm going to show you again some of the other examples just so you can get to see how you might use it. So here I've got various stitches, but it is one. Here's some herringbone as well. It's one that I do use a lot. And then on this one, I've used it at the bottom here just to give a little bit of difference. And I've used lots of stitches here, which I will be making videos for. And back to the I'll show you this in its entirety. There's quite a lot of stitches here, and I will be doing videos eventually for all of these, but I will also be offering the chance to have a beginner's video on all of these stitches, which will be one that is a paid one, but it is going to be only 10 UK pounds, which is, you know, which is quite reasonable, because I just enjoy sharing my love of stitching, and I think it would be nice to put all of these together and give people the chance to have the same sort of experience that people have in my workshops. If you're in the UK, near Wiltshire or Bath, then you know, do let me know, and I can let you know about my in-person workshops. But if you're interested in the stitching workshop to have a look at all of these stitches, chain stitch, blanket, feather, fly, herringbone, French knots, lazy daisies and seed stitch, then let me know, and you can put a note in the comments, send me a message, and I will let you know. It should be coming out in the next month or so. But I hope that's been helpful for you to get a little idea of fly stitch. And yeah, I'd love to hear how you get on with it. If you would like to join my Facebook group, there is a Facebook group called Slow Stitching by Hand with Eleanor Grace. If you just ask to come into the group, if you can sign up to the rules and or answer at least some of the questions, it should let you in pretty much immediately wherever possible. Although I work on UK hours, so if it's for our Australian friends, it may not be quite so quick. There you go. So I hope that was helpful, and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.